Friends, oh my god, this is a video that I was 50% we were gonna make, and this morning I was like, I think it's gonna be a good day. I think everyone's phones, alarms, alerts, were going off all morning throughout a good portion of the day, like, hey, you're up, hey, this is up, that's up. That was the general thing I think all of us were dealing with all day, and it was like, oh, okay. I mean, nothing was going crazy, but things were just kind of, getting back to some levels we've had them at here. And then once you know it, the devil himself came out and started talking. And, all jokes aside here, Jerome Powell obviously talked today, and we knew he was going to talk. We knew this was going to happen. He gave, honestly, what Jerome said today, he said a lot of positive things. Like, he was very positive on a lot of things that were concerning. The job report, what job data stuff they had with the payroll reports, but too with inflation, the economy. He was okay with some stuff and some things he was concerned about. But he really didn't say anything negative the whole time he was talking until right at the freaking end. He made a comment and said, yeah, I'm not so sure. I'm paraphrasing here, but he essentially said, yeah, I'm not so sure that we're going to do a rate cut in December, essentially saying, like, I don't think it's going to happen. Well, the market went, what did he just say? Since then, we have gone into mega dive death with the market. I mean, this is the most dramatic sell-off we have dealt with. This may be worse than the DeepSeek stuff right here at the beginning of the year. Let me look here and what we've been dealing with. I mean, it's hard to say because we ran so hard here. Essentially, where we're at right now, we have gone back to October highs, okay? It's obviously, it's not like the end of the world here. Some things are still up here, but essentially everything is taking a death spiral. And with that, what do we do from here? How do we look at this? Where is the next place we go here with all of this? What does this mean? So I'm going to talk about Nvidia a little bit, talk about Big Bear here a little bit, but in general, this is a conversation for the whole market right now. Everyone's like, what is going on? What do we do here? We've had this conversation before with Jerome Powell. Jerome Powell has come out many times and said things like this, where he has said, I'm not so sure, he's had positive conversations and then said something negative at the end about a rate cut. Jerome is usually not certain on rate cuts. So we've seen this. He's done things like this throughout the year. He didn't say they weren't going to, it wasn't like a definite won't, but essentially he was leaning towards more like, we don't think we're going to. So what do we know? We know the Feds right now are split down the middle, where there's Fed members that want to do a rate cut, ones that are on the fence about it, and ones that don't. For the people that are going, well, can't Trump intervene here? I hear Trump talking about this a lot. I mean, the consensus is with Trump is that, yes, we know Trump wants rate cuts, and we know that Jerome Powell will be gone here at the beginning of the not the beginning of the new year, but at the very beginning of the year here, his time is out. He will be out and gone. So rate cuts are coming here regardless, probably within the next 5-6 months of the market. Generally speaking, if they can get them pushed, because Trump's going to put someone in that he is going to control. Now, with that, could the Feds do a rate cut here in December? Anything's possible, and, can Trump do anything about this? Really, no. He can just pressure Jerome more, and obviously they have gone back and forth publicly for years now at this point. This has been going on since the Biden administration, where Trump has been saying public things about Jerome, and Jerome's been, Jerome's not really wanting to go at anybody, but it's obvious they're on different terms. They disagree. So where this goes from here, I really don't know. Now the conversation is not so much about an AI bubble. The conversation is like, okay, well, we just had all these quarterlies. They were really good with the Mag 7. Even, just our general stocks that we look at for AI to do well. just good companies all around, even to the bank stocks. They did good. We had a good Q3 all in all, and Nvidia cleaned up yesterday and just had the most craziest earnings we've ever seen that we didn't even think were possible. This morning was a completely different market. I mean, the market this morning was like bullish. I mean, it was like, okay, we're gearing up for some bigger numbers here. And like I said, when, the feds were talking here today, when Jerome was talking, it was essentially that, okay, this might be a good meeting, because the market was even like, okay. And then he did this 2 months ago, where he just, like, at the end of the meeting, just an offhand comment, boom, and then the market went, what? I think this is a time, and I said this yesterday, to invest in companies that are obviously, we know are going to do well into the future, okay? Now, some things have majorly sold off here, and some things are, they sold off a little bit. Just talking about Nvidia alone, Nvidia has sold down to this 178, 180 zone. This isn't insanely cheap for Nvidia by any means, but, just a few weeks ago, this was over a $200 stock when the last run we had in the market. With Nvidia here, what we know is good. It should bring you comfort with what we just saw here, because it's not only that Nvidia just released these insane quarterlies, it's the fact of what we learned from these quarterlies, what we were told from Jensen, what he, and this is the great thing, when quarterlies are released, it's like this little hour time capsule where CEOs legally get to tell you everything they possibly can. They give you as much evidence as they can. They can say kind of as much as they want to about their company, the future, everything, without getting in trouble with FCC. And what I mean by that is essentially what we just saw Jensen do here, where he said, like, hey, we're expecting revenue to increase time over time here in the following years. This isn't just like, oh, we're going to do good the next, couple, next quarterlies here. No. This is going to continue. As a matter of fact, Q4 to end out the year here, we expect to be closer almost to $70 billion. With that conversation here, this is a clear-cut, clean look into what's coming here with Nvidia, that this is unstoppable. So I don't think it's so much a matter of like, man, do you think Nvidia is going to go back up to $200? The market will find its rhythm here again. There's no doubt about that. The market told us something this morning. It told us, hey, we want to play here. The market wants to play. The problem is we're getting all of this negative feedback, where we're having, a banker, an analyst, Jerome Powell, say something negative. An AI person, say something negative. Sam Altman, Powell, Jamie Dimon, something. And it crashes the market. We have been going through this since October. I mean, it's been nonstop. I swear to God, it's like, if we find out these people are betting against the markets, they should be thrown in prison. So what we're dealing with right now is that, yes, for the person in here, like, you don't understand, things are way too high. I get that. The problem is what we're seeing right now with this weird situation, because this is a weird situation that no one probably has ever been in, where we're seeing companies report insane earnings like Nvidia here, and then we had this situation where the market says, well, that's just too much. The whole market sells off. We had this over sell of just, this is insanity. Like, some stocks are too cheap at this point. So it's just this sense of, people are freaking out. They're panicking. I'm curious to see if the market can survive going into the end of the year here. What's going to happen? Is a rate cut really this big of a deal to the market? That is what is very interesting. It seemed that Nvidia was in control of the market here the last 24 hours. Now it's a situation of, the Fed say, well, we're not going to give you that rate cut. And now the market's going, we're done. We're out of here. This could be a huge overreaction, okay? This could be one day of an overreaction. So there's things here that I bought today. I bought more SoFi today. I put in some more money on BigBear, because I'm like, these are companies that I'm still rolling into 2026 with. These aren't companies that I'm trying to go like, I'm trying to really get a big swing trade. I mean, obviously there's swing trades in these, but I'm trying to make a huge position going into these stocks going into next year, because I believe that they're going to do something very special with, large portions that I'm holding on to with them. So yeah, I mean, it's a crazy thing what we're seeing right now. So like I said, Nvidia is going to roll here. Jensen came out yesterday, and like I said, this hour that CEOs get to have, where they get to tell all the secrets and all of the little elements of their companies in that little moment there. Jensen did it. I mean, we saw the data center was pretty much most of the money that they made. I mean, it killed it. Not only that, Blackwell, I mean the chip is just, it's just unbelievable. They cannot make the thing fast enough. I think we're going to see something here in the next, I want to say 2 years, but really I want to trim the time down here, and I want to say this could be a year by year situation with the insane growth of Nvidia, because we can see that the proof is in the history of what we've been watching here with Nvidia, with Jensen. Jensen has been telling us this all year. He's like, hey, the next quarterlies are going to be bigger. Hey, the next year it's going to be bigger. Hey, Blackwell, it's growing. We can't make the thing fast enough. Our software, data center, everything, it's growing so much right now. It's unbelievable to us. With that too, what can we look at here time-wise with Nvidia? Let's look at this year and last year. Last year, Nvidia grew to unbelievable growth. So much so that they did a stock split. Okay. And even at that point, Nvidia at that point wasn't even, making the revenue that it's making now. No one could imagine what was going on here. But still, I remember even when Nvidia had that stock split, people were going, well, I mean, this is it. But they're never going to, there's no way they can get up to $50 billion in selling what they have. There's no way. Now we look at this year, and this year has been such a huge pacing of unbelievable growth in revenue. Okay. Now, that is pretty much what we've seen here this year. That has been the steadfast plan of what we've had, come true here this year with Nvidia. What does next year look like? Well, next year looks like, hey, I mean, by this time next year, if they keep up with this progression, which this is what Jensen is saying is possible from what they're doing right now, are we going to be in the 80 to $100 billion quarterly range? I mean, think about what we're looking at right now. I mean, they're saying Q4 here could essentially be right under $70 billion. That's crazy. That's crazy. This is why it's kind of dangerous to say, well, Nvidia is not going to go to $200 again. It's not going to go to $250. There can't be any stock splits anytime soon. I think those are very dangerous things to say. Obviously, this AI bubble conversation is very thick out there in the investor community right now. I mean, bears are wanting there are people that want the market to fail, okay? The problem is we just went through Q3s, mags, everything, banks, from a lot of the tech stocks in general. There was more better than there was bad, okay? Nvidia here is defying all odds, and it's showing us something. We're learning a lot, and this is where I get disappointed in investors that are so against. It seems to be like there's investors against Nvidia right now. I'm like, do you not realize how cool this is? This is so cool what we're watching right now with Nvidia. That is just how it is just running wild right now, running wild. In that, to think like maybe by 2027. Who knows what the market looks like next year? By the end of next year, could there be another stock split or talks? I highly doubt one will come next year. Something insane would have to continue to progress here. And I don't want to go against the market. Anything's possible here. But, by 2027, 2028, could we be looking at another stock split with Nvidia? I mean, think about, if the stock was to really get up and roll here. I mean, by this time next year, if they're making $100 billion quarterly, oh my God, this is crazy. This is crazy stuff here. So friends, I wouldn't get upset about this. I think this is a very, very overcorrection today. Overcorrection. And I would not be surprised to see the market pick back up some steam here very soon. I mean, Palantir's went to the 150 zone, SoFi $24. You know, Big Bear's still holding pretty good zone here, but a lot of stocks in general are just, they've sold off a little dramatic here, a little more than they should have, and this is clear signs of overreaction right now, where this is just like, look at this right here. This is a deal and a half right here for the future investor. But ByteMine, I mean BMNR, $26 for that stock right now. Now that's a long-term investment. That's that's going to take a moment to really, cook in the kitchen. But that's a stock that I have been eyeballing here for a long time. Man, there's some deals out there right now. Crazy deals. When talking about Big Bear, this is such a conversation of, this isn't, the market is trash right now. The market has fallen. People are bag holding. There's probably people in profit zone, obviously, that have been in certain positions for a while. And I would say majority of people are like, what is going on right now? But look at this too as a situation of what may transpire over the next months here, maybe even weeks. We'll see what happens here with the market. We've seen a lot of crazy things on the market this year. Big Bear here, I really am not looking at this as a situation of oh my god, this is it. The market's never going to recover. Big Bear's never going to recover. If you are a believer in what this company is doing, I have made it very, very known and putting my neck out there with Big Bear, saying that I believe that this company is going to do more here in the following years for sure. But Big Bear has had such a fantastic year. There's no doubt about that. I mean, this company has completely cleaned house, gone after amazing deals, captured them, and really spending the money wisely, what they need to do. I'm so excited about what Big Bear is going to do. There are, you want to know the 5 companies that I am so excited for the next 5-10 years, but really going into 2026. It is SoFi, it is Big Bear, it is Palantir, it is Tesla, and I would probably say it's a toss-up between Rich Tech and Nvidia. I'm really curious about what's going to happen with those. I'm more curious with Nvidia of financially what's going to happen there. Nvidia is going to be just fine as a company, but I'm really curious what's going to happen there financially. Rich Tech, I'm really curious to see how fast they can advance their product and push their product out this year in 2026. So, and where robotics goes in general. That is really the truth. And, Big Bear right now is going to capture more contracts. There's no doubt about that. I've said this time and time again, but with Big Bear releasing that quarterly, what Kevin said in the memo part of those quarterlies, essentially saying like, hey, the big beautiful bill, we're going to get more, defense contracts with border security, security in general with the Defense Department, and 2, we have these airline deals that we are pushing into. That's essentially what we got from that quarterly. Okay, so that should bring you a lot of comfort. I would look at this as a moment of, do I push in here? Do I push into the market? I would generally say everyone is probably on board with saying this is more than just a correction. This is a huge correction right now, especially when we just came out of quarterlies where, from the banks to the big tech to the middle tech, everything did what it was supposed to do. Okay, and that is a clear indication of, okay, well, stocks are still doing amazing here. The problem is right now, is just, we have Jerome. We've dealt with this time and time again. Now you're either on his side or you are not on his side. And I would say majority of people that are listening to me yap my gums right now are going, I am not on his side because he's cost me a lot of money this year, time and time again. So It's going to be interesting to see what happens here, friends. Listen, I am still very bullish on this market. 100%. I am bullish on this market. 100%. This is a market that undoubtedly I do believe is going to find its legs again. One thing that I can say about the stock market that I've seen over the different seasons of being in the market, different aromas, travels up and down hills, is that when the market touches a number, it always finds itself back to that number. It will, and that goes for a lot of stocks too that are doing well. The market wants to show you what it can do. The market, a lot of the time, it is very touch and go. Okay, the fact that with S&P has ran to just essentially 150 points shy of that 7,000 point range of where Tom Lee says he believes it's going to go, and a lot of these other analysts, I don't think it's going to be difficult to see us get back to a 7.6, 6.7, or a 7.8 in the market with S&P 500. Clean up some lost numbers here. I don't think it's going to be too hard. The problem is, how long are people going to be fear-based in the market instead of pushing into the market? So that's a really interesting conversation right here. We'll see what happens. Friends, I want to wish all of you the best of luck. I want to encourage you. Don't look at this as like, oh my God, why did I do this? I've made a mistake. What am I doing? Whoa. Think about this. I mean, literally, this is no, and God knows I don't want to talk about politics. I am not the person to do it. But we know Jerome is going to be gone here in months. He's going to be out. He is the principal that we just don't want to deal with anymore. And whether you like this or not, there's going to be more rate cuts. So this is a heavy conversation of, this may be a moment of the market is down, the market is disappointed, but there will be rate cuts here in the next 6 months, probably, undoubtedly, because we know Trump wants rate cuts, aggressive rate cuts, more. And two, he's going to put someone in charge that is going to do everything that Trump tells him to do. However you feel about that, that is the God's honest truth. I mean, Trump is essentially, he just said that like 2 days ago. He's been saying it, but, he just gave a fresh update on his thoughts about that. So, yeah, it's okay. It's okay. This is going to be okay. We'll see what happens. We got one more day in the market here, and we'll see what can be cleaned up here. Friends, take care of yourself, and I will talk to you soon. Bye, everyone.